how hard is it? We talk about it all the time on here about guys that go to the Cup Series and are, they're not willing to go back, and what's that decision like when it comes down to it? Obviously, probably not your decision to make, but, what's it like when that happens where you have to take a step back and go back to the Xfinity Series?
Yeah, I mean, it was tough, at the end of the day, I can't say I wasn't frustrated, and I think I was frustrated myself at the same time because I felt like, a lot of it was put on me, and I think there were definitely things I could have done better. But from there, it was like when you get to go and run an Xfinity car that can go compete for wins, that excites you, like that's what every driver wants to go out there and do. And I felt like I could definitely prove something going down the Xfinity Series, and just being with a great group of people that truly believed in me and being able to build that into a championship team.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, the proof is in the pudding there. Saturday night, let's break that down. I mean, at one point I looked up and the 4 on the green-white checker there. First of all, let's go back to you're the fastest. I thought you were the fastest car on long runs pretty much throughout the race. The 20 was really good short run, but then he would kind of fade a little bit, and I saw you coming on there. So now you're in position. You're out front, coasting to the championship, and you get a yellow. What the hell goes through your mind when that happens?
I think I said on the radio, I think the one thing I said was like, these effing idiots, no, I said clowns.
If it makes you feel better, it was a race for like 38th where they spun out.
I know, right?
Yeah, but it really mattered.
that's just how it is, and you're just mad at the moment, that happening, but at the end of the day, there's nothing you can do about it. So you take a deep breath, and it's like, all right, you just got to focus on the restart for 2 more laps, and, it's going to be what's going to be.
And then the restart obviously doesn't go – the initial part of the restart doesn't go good. And it looked to me – now, I don't know what was like going on in the car, but, obviously the 7 gets outside you and puts you in a bad spot there. But it just seemed like there was no panic. Like you see a lot of guys in that position would maybe ship it off into one and wreck, or like we saw on Friday night, that disaster. But it seemed like you just like hit your entry right, got a big run off, and put yourself back in position to win right there.
Yeah, I mean, I felt like – it's always a toss-up with the top or the bottom there. And I felt like with the resin coming in, the top was going to be a little bit better because you could just send it off in there and the resin would catch you. But it didn't work out. So, I mean, the one thing that I didn't want happened with the 7 getting outside of me. I tried to block him, but he was able to get there. And from there, I was 3 wide in the middle, and I knew I was just in a no-win situation pretty much on the entry. So I just made sure I made the corner, didn't wreck, and tried to downshift it and just get a good exit. And from there, it just, was all it would work out.
Yeah, I mean, you could tell. At one point, I looked up, and the 4 championship guys were 4 wide off of 2.
Yeah. It was not too far in front of us. I was like, there's no way they're all making this corner down here. And then it ended up being a really good race. I think Justin – I thought Justin had a pretty good entry to 3 and a middle of 3 and 4. The exit, he didn't get a very good exit, and – I think, that was pretty much the end of it right there.
I think we both drove in until we saw Jesus. I think we had a great car to be able to make it stick. But, it was a wild wild last couple laps for sure.
7-win season the year before you moved into Cup full-time. I sat at this table, and I said you would win maybe 10 races this year. Was it harder to win this year than you thought it was going to be?
Oh, yeah. I mean, we fired off the season, and I mean, the first we had a really good shot to win Fontana, but we had a tire go down. But other than that, I mean, we kind of sucked. I mean, it was we ran 12th like 3 weeks in a row, and it was like, oh my God, what are we doing? And we just had to really kind of communicate with each other on what we needed to make better and truly fix what our problems were, and dig through a lot of different notes and figure out what we needed to do, because it was, I mean, there's 12 cars in the Xfinity Series right now that could legitimately win, where before it was more like 5 or 6 cars, I felt like. So I feel like the competition level in the Xfinity Series was pretty solid this year. I mean, everybody was really competitive. And if you were off your game, you were going to run 12th. So it was good that it wasn't easy, I think, at the same time, though. I think if it was easy, I wouldn't have learned as much this year, and how to communicate with your team to make things better, and just how to really build something.
And Riley got fast.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I remember he drove by us at Vegas, and I was like, oh, my God. I got nothing for that. Like,
Vegas was unreal.
Yeah. I mean, which all year, honestly, he's had speed.
It's been his best year. Even the beginning of the year, we were all super impressed by Riley. He started off the first third of the year.
Who's we all? Because I wasn't.
Well,
I was the second half of the year.
You must not have been watching the first part, because that was the best start of a season he's had in ever.
Mm-hmm. Did he make the playoff?
Honestly, they should have made the playoffs easily.
Yes.
If
I'm just arguing with TJ because you don't have the best start you've ever had and then not make a playoff 20 races in.
He made
Yeah,
it.
actually.
He made the playoffs, didn't he? Oh no, he didn't.
No.
That's
Yeah,
right.
No, he didn't make playoffs.
Kligerman, he was racing.
No, him and the
Kligerman.
9 that we both thought we would have been in the playoffs,
Yeah.
given how
He had the
fast the
best
cars
start
were.
of a year for his career that he's had. We were all.
But anyway, he's fast. You guys found something when it mattered.
Yeah, I mean, and it's crazy because you look at it and, at the start of the year, we were like, man, what are the JRM cars doing? Or what are the Gibbs cars doing? Like, they figured something out with this new package that Xfinity has. And but at the end of the day, it's just little things, like we just kept working on our stuff, spring shocks, heights, just getting all of it dialed in a little better. And all of a sudden you're, ahead by 15 seconds with Riley, and we were super fast at Homestead, and just the whole playoffs were just extremely good for our whole team. So it's just the little things that add up, and it takes a great team to find those.
It does. 3 wins this year. I mean, and obviously you won the race that counted. And to Freddie's point, it was the best championship race of the weekend.
Oh, wow, easy.
It wasn't even close.
Y'all didn't like the truck
What?
race?
Yeah. What?
Did you watch the truck race?
I did watch a truck race.
How did that look
Wow.
from your seat? You just
It was
praying?
something. It was something.
Were you just praying that wasn't going to happen on Saturday night?
I knew it wasn't going to happen to us. I mean, I knew that the championship 4 and our deal were respectful and that they wanted to do it right. But that truck deal, I mean, man, it is wild.
It was across the board. Everybody I talked to was just like, that was the most embarrassing thing we've done in our. I mean, apparently they addressed it in the meeting yesterday.
Apparently, they all watched the Xfinity race from Martinsville and said, "Oh, this is how we're going to do
This is how
Phoenix.
you do it."
Hold my beer."
Have we gotten any diagnosis on that engine from your Martinsville car by any chance? Like, is there any pieces left in it?
Doug Yates wasn't too worried about it, so I bet we won't ever see that engine again. Because I mean, we ran that thing hot. The alternator was going bad at the end, so the volts were all messed up, and then at the end, obviously backwards on fire, it's just on the chip,
pinned.
It was a disaster.
Talk about quickly, not quickly. You can talk about it all you want, but the difference between the Xfinity and the Cup car. Obviously we talk about this all the time on here about the races are more fun for us to watch. I got to think the cars are more fun to drive.
Yes. I mean, the thing about the Cup level that's so special is just the competition of it. Like when you're racing literally 30 guys out there that could probably go win. So it's just insane, the competition at every single level out there. But the Xfinity cars in general, the dirty air is not as bad. You can hang the cars out more sideways. The tire fall off's better. Overall, it's just a really racy package where you can go and run different lanes and have comers and goers throughout a run, and not have to. It's easier to make passes too, just because you're not stuck in such a bad dirty air wake. So you can just race your tails off with everybody out there. What's
the future look like for Cole Custer? I know obviously you announced this week. I think you're back in the 00 for another year. Is that? I mean, obviously the 10 car's sitting there open. God knows we've heard so many rumors about that, and it's all we talked about with Brandon earlier. It all comes down to money. What were we looking at? Just we're gonna come back and repeat next year or what?
That's the plan. Yeah, I mean we're coming back in the Xfinity Series with the 00 team, so I'm pumped about that. I mean, seeing what we built this year and how much that went into it, and just being with that group of guys is awesome, and I wouldn't want to do it with anybody else. And I think that we're going to have a great year next year. And with Riley too, I mean, I told them like hopefully we can split the races in half. I felt like we had so much speed in the playoffs. I mean, we can do a lot of stuff next year, I feel like, so I'm excited about it.
Anybody rule changes for the Xfinity cars?
No, nothing for next year, I don't think.
Well, that's good for you.
Yeah, exactly. I'm pumped.
Yeah, it's a good time to be riding that wave. So yeah, I mean, there's no reason why I don't think you'll double your wins next year.
So what are you going to do to celebrate this thing? What's that going to look like?
Well,
Oh, he's here. Duh.
We can't go to Cocktail Cove.
Luckily, Brandon's not back yet from Phoenix.
so the thing that's crazy about it, so I have Brandon, that's my best friend and manager, and then also Philip Smalley, who manages Ross.
Yeah.
And they won the race. And Philip's getting married this January.
Oh.
So we got his bachelor party this weekend in New Orleans.
New Orleans.
And Brandon's the best man.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a disaster.
So it was nice knowing you.
Holy cow.